when I was 3. And so in my head, I was just like, that's okay. I got a whole bunch of other men in the family who'll be here to protect me. But they ended up being my predators. So I grew up with this really funky way of thinking with the male-female dynamic, and it led to a lot of unproductive and challenging relationships, not just in my personal life, but at work as well. Because I couldn't decipher, are men my protectors or are they my predators? But the healing process, first and foremost, I had to reach what I thought was the absolute bottom of my life. And I had made the decision that I just didn't want to be here anymore. And through that experience, I decided to go and get professional help. And it was through that I realized that all the things that had happened to me up until that point was not my fault. I had to come to grips with that. I always thought there was something I did, something I said. I wasn't a good enough little girl. Of course I deserved this. But once I came to understand none of that was my fault, it's very empowering. And even with the domestic abuse, I would fall in love with potential. And I have to tell people all the time, potential ain't jack. You have to fall in love with the person as they are. And if you're compatible, then go for it. But if you are not, forget what they can be. Deal with who they are right now. Because I would fall in love. I'm like, oh, but they could be. We could be. And think about all the things we could do. Don't do that. You just going to run into a whole bunch of hot mess you are not ready for. So I had to understand who I was. I had to understand who they were. And I had to really be honest with myself. Is this something that's going to work? And define for myself what working actually looks like. Because a lot of us think, I need to make this relationship work, but they don't know what work means. What does working look like to you? And they can't define it. So the healing process happened in stages. I got help. I understood who I was. I started journaling to get my thoughts out, which is how I became an author. And the healing process never stopped, by the way, because I still have those moments when I'm in self-doubt and I'm in that victimhood mode. And then I have to understand the process that I've gone through to get here, which is why I encourage so many women to tell their story. Stop robbing people of blessings. Your story is a blessing for someone else, and you are robbing them of personal growth by keeping your mouth shut.
Agreed. The testimony piece is very important because you're right. You never know who it is you're helping. And I went through something not as traumatic, but when I tell my story, people say, you did that? Like, who quits a job? Who buys a house then quits her job? So that's kind of, I had to do what I had to do for me, for my own personal healing. So I understand exactly where you're coming from. Is that what drives you then to be, is that what drove you rather to build the brand WTF, Women Thriving Fearlessly? The whole idea that you needed to share your healing with others.
Absolutely. And it was a defining moment. I had a WTF moment, and I don't mean Women Thriving Fearlessly, okay?
Understood.
And I had a WTF moment where it was just, I have so many women who come to me with the Me Too factor. After I get on stage in front of all these people and bare my soul, they wait until they get with me one-on-one, and they'll quietly say, me too. Oh, my goodness, Erika, me too, me too. And I went, hold on a second. There's a disconnect that's happening here. Those me toos need to be on the forefront so that people don't feel like they're alone. And I went, WTF, how on earth am I going to do this? Right. And I love the acronym WTF for so many reasons, but I wanted to put a positive spin on it. Right. And I said, Women Thriving Fearlessly, yes, that's it. Let's gather these stories. Let's share them with the world, and let's start the healing process. And it starts with the author herself. Okay.
So you are the prototype for the brand. Like, let's start with me.
Let's start with me. I think that's how it always should start. It starts with you. And you can't change another person, but sometimes people change based on a change that they see in you. So your goal should never be to change another person. Right. Your goal should only be your personal truth and authenticity, and the rest is going to fall into place.
Excellent. I completely agree with you. So you talked about your journaling, and that's how you started, becoming a published author. Tell us about is there a favorite of those books? You've written 10 plus books?
The Secrets to Being an Unstoppable Woman. By far, that is the book that freed me. You hear me? I mean, there was a lot of hurt and anguish that I was experiencing at the time. I had just gotten divorced. And as traumatic as my marriage was, I'll be honest with you, that was probably one of the best things that has happened to me because it gave birth to my bestseller, The Secrets to Being an Unstoppable Woman. And I learned so much about myself through that relationship that I said, you know what? Going forward, whatever relationship I go into, I'm going into it on my own terms. And I want the other person to bring their own terms, and we'll just see if our terms match. But the journaling process started when I was way younger, and I didn't know it was going to turn into anything. But at the advice of my therapist, she said, write stuff down, whatever you're thinking or feeling, no judgment on yourself. That's really huge. Just start writing.
Okay.
That writing turned into a book, and then it turned into another one, and it turned into another one. I'm addicted to writing, girl. I got a lot to say. I got a lot more living to do, and I have a lot more books to publish.
I love it. I love it. And I'll be right on Amazon getting all of them. So, so tell people about your online talk show. You have the WTF brand has an online talk show. How did that come to be?
I'm only one person, and I can only reach so many people. Okay. So I said, how do I reach people on a global scale? Well, the answer became obvious, online. Like, seriously, if you want to reach people around the world, you have to be online. But I was the kid in school who got in trouble for talking too much.
You too, huh?
But now, right? But now I get paid for it. But it was always important to me that when I did open my mouth, I had something really important to say, something that was going to heal the hearts of others. So I gathered about 6 of my closest friends in my living room. I said, look, I have an idea for an online show. Here's what I want to do. And I mean, I had handouts, girl. I rolled it out for them. They were looking like, girl, this is a proposal. I'm like, I'm trying to tell y'all, I'm serious about this now.
Right.
And I said, let me have it. What works, what doesn't work. Erika, this is crappy, or Erika, I think this is great. You just need to tweak. And amongst my living room, in my living room, amongst my friends, we came up and crafted the online show WTF. And I traveled around the Chicagoland area, and I interviewed Emmy Award winners, Grammy Award winners, executive directors of shows. And I wanted to interview a group of people who did not have privilege growing up. Mm. I wanted to interview people who knew what it was like to struggle in their personal lives as well as their professional lives, and to be very vulnerable, because that's what reaches people. So we did an entire season of that. It was 22 episodes. When I think about it, I'm like, Erika, I really should have just done like 10. But I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. So we traveled, we interviewed people, and the response was just phenomenal. And that's at womanthrivingfearlessly.com if you want to watch past episodes.
Definitely, because that was my next question. So is there a season 2? What's next for that show?
So what's next for the show is sponsorship. We are absolutely seeking to do a season 2, season 3. But honestly, I footed the cost of everything for season 1. And yeah, I could do it again, but girl, hold on.
Listen,
we're talking about business, okay? Sponsorship is key for us to do future seasons.
Yes.
And if there's any organization or company who wants to partner with women who are thriving fearlessly, reach out to me, please. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. I'll put this in the hands of some people I may know who may know some people. That works out.
There you go.
Okay, great. So you mentioned in the promo for WTF, entertain, inform, and engage the audience. And I heard you say that being vulnerable was the key to drawing people. What else draws people?
Entertainment, being funny. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Even though I got in trouble for talking too much in school, I was also the class clown. And when I say be authentic, I mean whoever that person is. So people also like to be entertained. Everything doesn't have to be so serious. Yes, you can offer them information, but you want to make people smile in addition to making them think,
Indeed.
In addition to making them cry. You want to make people smile. So the entertainment piece, you can't beat it. Nobody wants to watch something for hours on end that doesn't somehow or another entertain them. So it's the entertainment. You want to give them information that they can use, and you also want to engage with them. So I had a segment where it was called Ask Erika, and people submit videos. Hey, Erika, how did you get started? Or, Erika, what's your favorite color? Whatever the case may be. So we invite our viewers to engage with us. We want them to know. We want to hear from you, and that's really important to people.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, give the people what they want and give them what they need as well.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you grow up?
South Side. So I grew up on the South Side of Chicago, Wild Hundreds, and the best possible way I can say this is that it educated me not just in books but also street smart. Mm-hmm. And I'm very happy that I can go to any city in the United States and feel comfortable. It's different when you grow up in a small town and come to a big city.
Right.
But when you come from a big city with a whole lot of adversity and then you go to a small town, it's a lot easier. Your instinct is just on 10, whether you want it to be or not. So I grew up on the South Side. I developed my razor-sharp intuition, and it's part of why I'm thriving so fearlessly. Because I don't have a lot of fear, almost none. There might be two things I'm afraid of, and even that, I jumped right into it. Heights is one of them. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways to conquer that, and I used to be a flight attendant looking out the window, go figure. But one of the ways I conquered that is my best friend and I went to Las Vegas and went ziplining.
Okay.
That voodoo ziplining where they push you off the top of a 50-story building in a little bucket. I did that, girl. I made a video about it. It's on YouTube because I thought I was going to die.
Well, I'm glad you didn't. You have so much more to offer.
Me too. I got a lot more living to live. But what I'm saying is about fearlessly, anything that I'm afraid of, I go toe-to-toe with it. Okay. That is what I encourage people to do.
That's great. That's something I tell my students because I'm in education in the private sector. And I tell them that. And I talk about how fear immobilized me 20-some-odd years ago when I first ventured into journalism. And now I didn't want to get to the point where I was, a certain age and looking back and coulda, shoulda, woulda. So I think that's amazing. Definitely trying to make it to this event on March 25th. Tell us about it.
So Saturday, March 25th. This is the book launch for WTF Volume 2. And this is where I feature the stories of women. And these women have gone through some of life's most challenging situations, forced to give their child up for adoption when they didn't want to, drug use, domestic abuse, sexual molestation, living with disabilities, all kinds of life experiences that really, it kind of crushes your soul when you read it. Yeah. But then you get inspired because toward the end of their story, you see how they turned it around. Mm-hmm. And this is the book launch of Volume 2, Saturday, March 25th, and it's at Moraine Valley Community College in Palos. Okay. And to get tickets, you go to theunstoppablewoman.net. I have to stress .net because if you go to .com, you're going to see something else. Oh. So it's theunstoppablewoman.net to get your tickets. The tickets are $35. It includes the parking, the admission, an autographed copy of the book, the food, the beverages, and everything. So it's all inclusive. You don't have to pay anything else. Once you get in there, you're in. So it's an amazing and phenomenal event. Volume 1, we tore the roof off of that place. So Volume 2, we don't expect anything less. If you have daughters or sisters or mothers or even nephews, bring them so that they can see that even though life is challenging, you can get through it. You really can. And the stories of these women is evidence that you can do it.
Excellent. Theunstoppablewoman.net. How can people reach out to you on social media or email or whatever way you'd like them to connect?
Absolutely. My name is all over the place. It's facebook.com/Erika Gilchrist. That's Erika with a K, Erika. Right. And this is how I tell people to spell my last name. It's Gil Christ.
Exactly.
So it's Gilchrist. That's my name on Twitter. That's my name on LinkedIn. That's my name on Facebook. So if you know my name, you can find me. I can't stand it when people say, girl, I lost touch with you. I didn't know how to get in touch with you. You're a lie because if you put my name in Google,
yes,
you're going to find 10 different ways
Yeah.
to find me. You didn't want me.
I did.
See, that's what I'm saying. So people tell me they can't find me. Hush, shut your mouth. Shut your lying mouth.
I love it. Erica, I can't wait to meet you live and in person. It is my intent to be at your event on the 25th. Thank you so much for being a part of Vibra Mix, live from the TLC Talk Radio studios. I appreciate you so, so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Keep rising.
Thank you. You too. Bye.